Hello everyone, I am Believer, and welcome to part 2 of the Payday 2 playthrough. This part starts out a little odd, because as you can see, I arrived late to the party, and this situation already seems to be pretty contained. So my partners in crime here and I usually pick the mission, or should I say contract, called Nightclub whenever we go back to square one. But we decided to go to the jewelry store instead, as it is very popular to start out with. And rightfully so, because there are usually very few guards around and most of the civilians are in the same area, making it ideal for stealth. Many of the heists you can do in Payday 2 can be done in stealth, just like we're doing right now. So you have to put into consideration what kind of approach you want to do in different heists. In this case, we decided to do this one on the hardest difficulty available, named Death Wish, because it is so very easy to do, so you might as well get the most out of it. Higher difficulty yields bigger rewards both in terms of money and experience, or simply put, XP. Most of the heists I've managed to complete in Death Wish have been in stealth. I consider it a far easier alternative to going loud, because Death Wish is massively hard and certainly not something you should do when starting out. Stealth, however, is totally doable, if and only if you know how the mechanics work. If you have just acquired the game and never played it before, you should be prepared for the alarm to go off many times. So okay, to eliminate the threat of an alarm going off, here's what you should pay attention to. First off are phone calls. If people, be it a guard or a civilian, discover something suspicious, like a dog getting drilled, a civilian taken hostage, or a dead body, even if it is in a body bag, they will call the cops. You can interrupt the civilian's phone call by walking up to them and talk to them with your gun. They will then get down on the ground and stay like that for a while. But if the civ feels like he or she is out of harm's way, they will reattempt to do the phone call. Tie them up with a zip wire to prevent this. In the case of guards, you cannot force them to be taken hostage in quite the same way as a civilian, although with the proper skills it's still possible. However, the only solution aside from that is to kill him. When that happens, a pager on his body will activate and ask for a situation report. You have about 10 seconds to respond to the pager after it activates. Responding to the pager takes about 10 seconds as well, although that can be decreased with skills and perks. And for all of you new to the game, I really have to stress this. If you're answering the pager and interrupt the response prematurely, the alarm will go off. So yes, if the body gets spotted and you're still answering the pager, do not stop answering it, even if another guard is pointing a gun at you. I know it's a bad situation to be in for sure, because the guard is likely to shoot you, and that brings me to the second stealth element to be aware of. You see, some actions make sounds that civilians and guards will hear, with a different radius depending on the action. I'm not entirely sure how noisy things are considered stat-wise, but the most obvious one that just about everyone will hear are gunshots, and these will most likely be from the guards that have spotted you. So be careful and react fast if that happens. An important fact to know is that if you're using a sound compressor modification on your weapons, it's only your weapons that won't make a noise. The people you may kill might still make some. Not entirely sure how much noise they make, but if you want to feel more secure, you should use Aced Shinobi in the Ghost skill tree, or Aced Hidden Blade in the Fugitive skill tree. And finally, there are the cameras. They pretty much act like stationary guards with limited vision. A beeping noise will let you know that you're about to be discovered. If it discovers you, there's nothing you can do to prevent it from alerting the cops. They will also react to dead bodies, alerted civilians and guards, loot and body bags, and more. Taking out the guard operating the camera room is the solution to this problem. Cameras and the quantity of guards can make stealthing a bank a hassle. Thankfully, you can use the electronic countermeasure device, or just ECM for short, to counter the electronic devices. That means mobile phones and cameras will be out of the equation for its duration. These are usually used when you need to get past a locked door covered by a camera that you cannot afford to destroy, or if you're about to get spotted and want to buy yourself some more time. Aside from being a different playstyle from the shoot all the cops mentality, it will also reward you with a so-called stealth bonus to your next contract. They give you extra experience points when you complete your next heist, and they can be as low as 5% or as high as 25% increase in experience depending on what heist you're stealthing. You might be asking, what's the deal with this civilian here? I'll put a link in the description below that should explain our hatred toward this guy in particular. Man, you can rob all the banks you want, but this guy doesn't have a single fuck to steal. Alright, back to being serious. Okay, I've talked a lot about stealth. How about I finish this up with some trivia for the heist in question here, jewelry store. This heist can be done in less than 30 seconds on easier difficulties with the least amount of effort, making it a very popular choice when farming reward cards. You'll see them in the end of this part. And also, Twitch, the escape driver, will say, "Holy shit, next time I'll bring a bigger car," when you secure 6 bags. But no matter how many times you do this contract, he'll never bring a bigger car. Well, finally, the drill is done opening the safe box, and we got the final bags required to finish this heist. That safe box is the only reason it took us so long to do this. And success! Now it's time to reap in the rewards, mainly a lot of experience. As you will see, leveling up not only gives you more skill points, it also unlocks a ton of weapons. The success screen here is followed up by picking 1 out of 3 cards. Each card represents a little bonus. Those can be extra experience, extra cash, a modification to a weapon, a mask, a color combination for your mask, or a pattern for your mask. And since I got a lot of leveling up to go through, how about some achievements? There are 3 achievements related to this contract. Diamonds Are Forever, Snatch and Grab, and Private Party. For Diamonds Are Forever, you only need to steal and secure 4 bags without the escape car leaving the first time. Fairly easy when done in stealth. Next up is Snatch and Grab. Complete the jewelry store job on the Death Wish difficulty. Well, that's what we've been doing right now, so yeah, huzzah! Finally, we have Private Party, which is don't let the cops enter the jewelry store until the van comes back on overkill difficulty or above. So, don't let the cops enter the store basically. My advice is to take the fight outside and bring some sentry guns to assist you. Alrighty then folks, that was Jewelry Store. Stealthing it sure is rewarding in terms of numbers. Decent amount of money, decent experience, fairly easy to acquire and to do, but let's be honest, not very exciting because of that safe box. With all these skill points, I can now be a bit more flexible in my playstyles, as well as being able to do something a bit harder than just this. That's all for part 2. See you in part 3, where we meet everyone's favorite Ukrainian, Vlad.